Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Biblical Britain Uncoded, and welcome to any new members that have, or any new subscribers that have joined since. I'm going to again take you on a journey through code that is absolutely, and I say it every time, mind blowing, and it truly is. And again, it can only be done through the one who created everything, because as you will see, I mean, persevere with this video because it really unlocks so much and proves so much of this Atlas message, or a last message, Atlas being an anagram of a last, and obviously the map tricks with the broken padlock. You just break the word padlock, add p lock, put the p into matrix, and it becomes map tricks. Okay. All centered around Solomon's temple, the real Solomon's temple in the kingdom of Monmouthshire, hence the only temple in Mon, solo temple in Mon. Mon's Oslo temple, or template, if you put it as a temple at Mon. But there's so much to this that obviously I can't go through it all. Right, firstly, I just wanted to do a quick recap on where we are. And I have no doubt, well, I'm about to show you even more miraculous code that identifies Eden as being Caerwent in South Wales, known as Gymru in Welsh, or the real name is Gymru. Cymru it's been softened to, and that becomes apparent because that is actually used in one of the codes, believe it or not, that relate to the solar system. Okay, right, firstly, Eridanus the river. This is where the code broke. Well, the code literally broke when I saw a picture or was looking over a map, and I literally noticed the mound across the road from me was in the shape of an apple. I'll show you all this now and how it all fits together for anybody new. You'll know the kind of basics of this. But this is really exposing a whole lot of truth. Okay, Eridanus the river. Right, first, as well, I wanted to point out that if anybody's wondering why this code, this is a word code. I've got something else to show on this later, which sort of backs it up. But word code, it effectively in the beginning was the word, and then he tells you the end from the beginning. Well, the end from the beginning, the word is in the Atlas. He says, "I create new works." I'm pretty confident that most people, or a lot of people, I don't know about most, a lot of people are still oblivious to what's going on in the world, but we're in sort of really bad times and things are sort of heading to a kind of crescendo, I suppose. But anyway, okay, let's just get into it. So Eridanus the river, when you anagram this down, literally cross letter for letter, one like I-D, the river, N-E-A-R, near us. Okay, so I need the river near us. Well, the river near us, and when it, and right, and this also says, just save time, it says, I, Ned, A, Rus. Well, Jerusalem, the decoded Jerusalem, again, which I've got a lot more on this, is in this fort. This fort is Jerusalem, with a G. Spelled with a G, and like I say, this goes into a million things. Right, on the temple, there's a picture of a lock, as I will show you. Just above it is Fort Llanmelin. This is the home of the Siluri, who are the real Israelites. And again, well, let me just show you something quick. Right, firstly, right, just to show you that just to identify, Ra, a macabre snake, a curse. Adam his on ruin. Well, Adam's curse on the ruin. This is the walls of Jerusalem. They still stand at sort of, I think they're 18 feet high in some parts, but according to what's written on there, they were 60 to 70 feet high when they were in the day. So this is some fort, and it's one of the best kept. Well, it is the best kept secret of all time, really, but hidden away. You won't even find it on a Roman top 10. It's supposed to be Roman. I've decoded this as being built. It's the city of David, which is also a code. He's Caradoc. Coelin ap Caradoc, his son, is actually Solomon. Again, if this doesn't make sense, go through some of the other videos, and the Solomon's Trick C is one of the better places to start, part 1, and then kind of work up. But right, for now, I'll move on anyway. Right, Adam is on curse. Well, on the corner of this fort, right opposite where I live, literally about 30 feet away, is a mound. Now this mound, when you look at it from the ground view, doesn't look like anything. When you look at it from the air, it is clearly in the shape of an apple. Okay, the apple of Eden. On the temple itself, in the stonework, is this padlock. Okay, that's literally part of, and it's where where you unlock where the Ark of the Covenant is underneath it. I can tell you that, among other, like I said, go into everything. But then far further up is this fort in the shape of a key. This is a modern key and lock, because Yah, the real creator of all things, whose name's been hidden, has basically put all this into place at this time. And he says, I show you things in ancient times, so when they come to happen, you'll know I did it. And I am your creator. I don't like God. Well, I'm 99.9% sure that's a man-made word and a trickery in this Ra character. This Ra is the macabre snake, the tempter of Eve, basically, and the one who caused all the problems, has been benching through history on. But I'll get into that as we go on. Okay, but basically, when you line these up, from the key, you go straight through the lock, and it pinpoints the apple. So this is the key to unlock Eden, basically. Right, okay. Not only is this statement is made up of all the stars, the star names in Eridanus, the river. Okay, so when you anagram when you anagram the title, you get ID, the river near us. When you anagram the stars, you get Ra, a macabre snake, a curse, Adam his on ruin. Then you go to the earth, you find the ruin, because literally built into this wall is this, it's a pump, we call it. And obviously the river across as well, which if you follow the line, leads to the now dried up River Ned, and you can Google it, it does, it's recorded as the River Nedden. Well, it has a code in it. Okay, I'll just show you this one quickly, and what it is right, what you got to do is basically you've got your R, your D and your N. Your R, your D and your N. So all I'm going to do is bracket the letters that I've added. Then what you do, to uncode it, you bring down those letters and you unscrabble them and you get the word age. So what you basically get is it's either the Eden Garden River Age or the Eden River Garden Age, I think it is. So when you're Eden River Garden Age, that's what it would be. So effectively this is showing you that this is one of the 4 rivers that lead out, 3 rivers that lead out of Eden and accumulate in the 4th, of which I've got uncoded something absolutely perfect just to prove this, as I'll show you in a little while. What I'm going to do today is show you all the pictures at the beginning, because these computer tends to have a habit of crashing on these, and then I end up obviously having to redraw all these pictures up. But I'm about to show you not only that there's a code that tells you that these pictures actually exist in Wales, but I'll actually show you the pictures and what they relate to. Bear with me. Okay, folks, bear with me a second. Right. First picture, this is the key. This is Llanmelin Hill Fort in South Wales, in Kingdom of in the borough of Monmouthshire, which is the ancient kingdom of Mon. Changed to Gwent, which is G Went, because the G off Jerusalem went, along with many other things. The whole place is coded right through, as I'm about to demonstrate, in the most miraculous way. Okay, so when I talk of the key, as you can see, this is clearly in the shape of a modern key. And it's also the key to the city, to unlock the city of David, which is Jerusalem with a G, which is Ventus Salurum. Like I say, I could go into code, but we'll never get this done. The second picture, when it arrives, bear with me. It's loading, bear with me folks. Right, firstly, the main picture I'm going to show you, this is the real temple of Solomon. And I don't know if you can see it too cleverly because of the angle, but if you look here in the center, what you'll see is you've got a square, right, the whole thing is the lock. The lock for the key is actually this entire piece. This is where the key for lamelling goes. Again, I won't get into it, but firstly you've got to break the matrix or the map tricks, and this is how you do it. Now, drawing a line from clanmelling the key straight through the corners of this, which I'll show you on a map later, you come down then into the corner of the fort of Jerusalem, and this, well, I'm hoping you can see it. I mean, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and I passed this a million times, but as you can see, there's clearly an apple. If I can get the mouse to go around with me, you even got the stump and the piece off it, but this is the apple that unlocks Eden, and this is what I'm talking about when Adam is on ruin. These, if I can show you, this is a tower on the wall, like a defensive tower, but these walls obviously run directly through the center of this apple. So when it says Adam is on ruin, well, it's telling you that Adam's curse was the apple, and it clearly is on a ruin. Okay, all part of this great map tricks. Right, the next one I'm going to show you in advance is this. A bow, basically. This is Orion's, well, it's Orion's bow it's coded as. There's reasons for that, but I won't get into that right now, but we just take that out. There we go. Right. Okay, so what this is made up is a standing stone circle here, Grey Hill. When you unscrabble Grey Hill, it says I yell RGH. RGH is the Royal Arching Cancer decoded. It's the Royal Gwent Hospital, which amazingly is the place I was born. In Newport Monmouthshire, or Newport Mon. But what's amazing is at the time of let me just square this up a little bit, slightly off because I just haven't lined it. But right, when I was born, my registered place of birth, believe it or not, unbelievably, is right in this house here. And this is what is referred to in Orion's code when it says head RG, the end of Orion's code. It gives you a riddle, then it gives you a code. It identifies the two forts and the lunar code. But it basically says head RGH house, final land. Well, this house here is actually Coent House, and this is where my parents, and when I came into the womb of the matrix, because that's what this is, and this is what the womb of the matrix in the Old Testament means, is basically I was born in there and my name is encoded in it. How or why, I don't, honestly, I do not know. I didn't look for this. In fact, it's come more as much of a shock to me as it, it's just hard to put it in words really, but either way, let's get on with the code. So this is the lock, so you've got the key, the lock and the apple effectively. But right, and if you take note of this bow as well, if you notice the line from the key straight through goes to the apple, that becomes important because on one of the codes, it actually identifies this that I'm going to show you. Right, in the book of Job, the book of Job is I'm assuming it's an allegory or like a story that runs parallel to something else. Well, the book of Job is the Atlas, and it's simply the Atlas job. And it's the Atlas job of uncoding the map tricks of the matrix and revealing a last message. Right, now this is the drawn, right, the reason there are two lines off this, there are two lines. Right, the line that we're going to concentrate on is the shorter arrow line. I've drawn a little tip on the arrow there. This is a place called Hewellsfield Common. But this arrow line goes through, if you can see it, Tinton, where there's an abbey, funnily enough. And obviously it passes by the key. There's the other arrow line, basically, this is and you'll see why it's called this. The reason this line is here, because this place's code is let me just move it across. This place here where you draw the arrow back. When you draw the arrow back, you literally draw the bow. And there's significance to this as well, because when you draw a bow, you lift it higher than the target, then lower it down and then fire it off. Now the first line is the drawing of the bow. It's all to do with the drawing of the bow, literally. And the second line then leads off to the line that basically reveals or binds the sweet influences of Pleiades, which I've done on other videos, which is Please ID. The Pleiades is an anagram of Please ID. And it hits a place called Mablethorpe, and it's all to do with getting a rope and binding the RGH, which is the the RGH is the Royal Gwenton Hospital. This will become more apparent as we go. But so as you can see, it combines the lock, the apple, and the key. Then you've got the stone circle. And then this place here is called Carrow Hill. See Arrow Hill. This is also encoded in Solomon's symbology, which I'll show you as well when we get to it. But the line that we're going to do the code on today goes from St Bride's Netherwent, and what it reveals is mind-boggling, and it goes through to Hughesfield Common. So this is the line, and all the places in that line are what we're going to decode. Okay. Right. The second line is bear with me. Let's just move that across. There we go. Right. On my giant map, there's a giant map basically, and I've already decoded it. And what you've got in among the Seal of Solomon is encoded in it a giant shark basically, which is Leviathan. When you unscrabble Leviathan, it's more than a veil, and it literally is, because it's covering up so much about Wales being the Holy Land that you will not believe. Okay. Now, as I'm going to show you, we had codes in the last one that one said Trust H, and the other said, bear with me, let me just pull them up. Oh, let me just pause it there. Right, okay, this is my Latin house. Let me just show you. Right, basically, when you start decoding the star constellations that all have snakes and sea monsters, water monsters and everything else in them, you get these messages. Try show Ra Eden matter. Well, the Ra Eden matter is the fact that the snake's name is Ra, and we say Amen, and basically he's tagged his name on Ra onto Amen, so that instead of saying the Amen being an anagram of name, instead of saying, well, what you're doing is naming Amen Ra, the snake, as your basically as your, that's who you're sending your prayer to when you end it that way, instead of naming Yah or the real one. It's so much trickery with this. Okay, the second one, Asp causes Eden Church sin. This is the reskinning of the apple. Asp causes Eden Church sin. Pope you trappers, he repents serpents. Okay, so when you got you repenting, repent is an anagram of serpents. Okay, it says Rabbi Ruse, put hope in secret H. Right, secret, this is the thing with this bow, this spear, and there's also a dart I'm going to show you as well. It also says, right, this is where it gets a bit funny as well, because it says Saw Ra, Eden Key, and it actually says Trust H, okay? Now, what the secret H and Trust H, there's a reason for this, and it's because I'm the secret H man who's revealing all this code to you that is encoded in both this spear, the dart, and the bow. And when you speak in the book of Job, he basically says, firstly he says he cannot hold the spear, the dart, or the harbigan. If I remember right, harbigan is EB on RGH. Well, harbigan is armour, so the armour is in the code, and that's what the harbigan code is. Then you've got the dart and the spear. There's other parts then that says these arrows can't bring him down and what have you, but it's literally all coded for these pictures in the Atlas matrix. Okay, right. Bear with me. Okay, so the main points on this. This is Holy Island, Berwick on Tweed. This is Eccles, Manchester. This is Chesterfield, Chester. Much Wenlock, amazing. Much Wenlock being right in the middle of this spear. And then this one is actually pinpoint on the key. It's as well as anything, it's pinning the bow onto the key as well. So it's kind of pinning it in position really. And then what the final, let me just show you that this literally is on the key. The key looks worn, but there's more code in that, but it's a worn key. This actually also points miraculously to exactly where I work, which I encoded in the last video, even naming the company I'm working for and the very building I'm in. Aims at Eastleigh's Corsham, Yes Atlas. Eastleigh's an anagram of Yes Atlas. Corsham is Marco's H. So the quickest way to get the H man is simply by going, literally following where this key points to. It does a lot more than that though, but for now we'll stick with that. Okay, so we've got this is the bow. Hang on, let's just change that. This is the giant spear that's going into Leviathan, which is drawn out on the map as well. And the final one is this dart. Okay, the red dot is actually centered unbelievably on a place called Temple Coombe. All part of and then when you follow the line straight and you create the dart, the pinpoint of the dart hitting the bullseye. Not only hit the bullseye because it relates to Taurus, means completion at Rus, but I won't get into that now. But it hits I've done that in previous videos actually, which is the Guyana, G-Rus, the crane map on Guyana and all the code in it. But what this does as well, miraculously, is it actually literally cuts through the apple on the fort as well. So it connects, it's basically the bullseye on everything. Solomon's Temple, Jerusalem, Eden, because Solomon's Temple and Jerusalem is said to be built on where the Garden of Eden, where Adam was created. So that makes complete sense. But literally it hits the bullseye, and well, it is literally also reveals the ark. If you go back on other pictures, we've got so much, there's art everywhere basically, but Yah is using literally the landscape for pictures as well as cleverly, and this is proving that nobody else could have done it. It's as simple as that. Yah is the name of the real creator. It's not God, his name is Yah, Yahweh. And right, okay, but I'm just going to pause you there so I can get back to the board and start to break this lot down. Okay, folks, let me just straighten this camera up a bit. My camera went on pause during... Right, come on. Right, Aries the ram. Okay, I kept getting in my head last week, Aries. This is how I get these triggers. Okay, right, I did not expect to find this because, well... I said in the last video and in previous videos, I stated that I believed I'd looked Satan or Ra in the eye, and I literally did. I saw this thing, and like I say, I was trying to describe it. It's difficult. A water monster, it is, but I don't think it goes in water. I know, and again, I'm going to say like a lunatic first going off, and again, I said to people, you don't have to believe this. I mean, it's only my word again. You know, I can't plug you into my mind and show you what I saw, so don't believe it. You know, if it's not in code, don't believe it. Well, lo and behold, in code, I actually find a record of this encounter. Unbelievably, right, and amazingly, right, my journey really started in April 2020. COVID struck 20th of March, I think it was. All the business got cancelled. Something then, I don't even know, well, I was kind of, right, previous to this, that I'd seen this thing. And among some other paranormal encounters, which may crop up at some time, I'm not even going to go into them at the minute, but I saw this thing. This was before this all started. And at that time, I started to kind of awaken to what was going on. There's something with these Freemasons and all this, and I started looking heavily into it with no real thing about Solomon or anything. I didn't have a clue on anything, but it kind of woke you know, seeing this thing. I didn't know what it was at the time, and you don't really talk about it because you would sound like a complete lunatic, and I admit that. And again, like I'm saying, I'm bringing this up now because I found something absolutely bizarre. Okay, well, not bizarre, it's brilliant really. Right, Aries the ram is April. Well, April is when I woke up. Okay. First thing we're going to do is find the secret message. The first message is in the title. Okay, it says, met Ra, arise. Okay, well I did, I met Ra, and then I started, this is the point where really I did start to arise as such, and this code sort of started, well, like I say, it just started leading me in the right direction until the real experience started slowly in April and then sort of progressed to where we are today. And how I got here is just unbelievable, and just followed it. Well, it's all pretty sort of done, and this is proof of it, because this code was written long before this meeting happened, and just to back this up, so you know that this is just not one like a lucky kind of I don't know, like a find. Right, bear with me a second, let me just write it up, saving time with the video to upload. Okay, as you can see, right, firstly, this here are the stars that are in Aries the ram. The only one, I learnt this from Orion's words. Basically, when you get a star numbered as this, like it's numbered 41, what you do is you turn it into words. It's the same with Orion's sword becomes Orion's words. And then it's the M42 nebula, but when you put the 42 into words with the M as well and unscrabble it with the word nebula, it actually says my two forts be lunar, which is obviously in reference to the safe zone with the two forts and the moon sign going around it. Again, like I say, if you've been following these videos, that will make complete sense. Okay, but right, when you unscrabble it, letter for letter, anagram, it says Satan Ra alarm. Time to raise H for many. Now this is, and again, all these codes that I'm now going to show you, well, from here in really, all relate to this secret H and this H man. Okay, so the H, and ultimately the H H represents Solomon's key, and the key to unlocking everything and raising the alarm. Okay, Satan Ra alarm. What's weird as well is this thing looked me in the eye, and I can tell you now, it had like, well, I don't even know how to describe it. I looked at rays and stingrays because it's that type of look, it's flat. But it was looking me in the eyes, so I couldn't see the back of it, but it's got like real black almond shaped eyes. And when I looked in those eyes, what I actually saw was more, if I'm honest, you'd expect it to, it did, obviously it's evil, but there was a look of pity and almost like despair in those eyes. And I got a feeling that it knew maybe, well, obviously I didn't have a clue who it was at the time or what it was really. It's only since that all this has come to light that I've realised, obviously, well, clearly that's who I met. But it was that look in his eyes was more of despair. And I think it was the kind of an early wake-up call for me, an early alarm, and a kind of, well, let him know that his time is nigh. And you tied that with me being able to uncode the number of the beast as well, and the man and the beast, which I've already done. And it says the devil sends the beast with wrath because he knows the time is short. Well, the beast is the World Economic Forum, and the man is Douglas Lawrence Fink of BlackRock, and he's controlling the strings along with Klaus Schwab. There's a lot more code that goes with this, but again, if I break into all of it, you're gonna know. But the alarm was set basically, and this is the constellation that actually, I knew it had the word arise in it, but I thought the ram, I don't know what that meant, but either way, this is what the message in it is. Okay, again, like I say, it's up to, I've no reason to lie to anybody. I don't make money off these videos. I'm not even out for fame. All I want to do is get people to get right with Yah, get to the safe zone when the time arrives, and really that's my motive. My children are already encoded in the safe as well. It's all done in the Ark ship and the anchor. But anyway, right, let's move on. Okay, folks, right, as you know, on the last one, on the last video, I untied, well, I gave you the code at the top. There are 8 planets, a Sol and a moon. The Sol, in the context of Solomon's symbology, is the sun, basically. So what you've got, the 8 planets, the sun and the moon. Okay, right, hidden in there is a secret code. It says tie GH. Right, G is for Jerusalem. Right, we've got the 2 pillars, these are the 2 pillars of Solomon. We've got the Royal Arch in Cancer that connects the two pillars. Okay, I could go into a whole lot more with this, but for now, right, what you've got is basically the Cancer is the star map that goes over the ground. Okay, this is Holy Head, this is Swindon, this is Exeter, but there's a whole load of, and believe me, all this is coded. There's coded messages in every single place that connects up, and it's absolutely bizarre. Well, brilliant, really. It's not bizarre. That's obviously the key. This is the lock. If I continue down, you've got the apple down over here as well. Funnily enough, the apple of Eden. But what you effectively, in fact, let's get rid of that. The apple. Right, what you got is R for the Royal Arch. Then you've got G for Jerusalem. And what I'm going to show you is what the H is. It's not, right, the H at the Holy Head is not actually the H. This is the H. And when you put the moon, remember I said about the Orion's word says, my 2 fort be lunar. Well, these are the 2 forts. And when the moon comes to the full, basically it highlights the safe zone. This is the safe zone for the end times. The actual safe zone, the centre of it is actually Jerusalem. Or the lock. Okay, there's so much more to it. But what it is, the combined nation safe code. And when you know the truth of the Holy Land, it's Canaan, England, Egypt is Cornwall. I know it sounds crazy, but believe me, it is. And Judea is Holy Head. Okay. What you have is combined nation safe code. So Canaan is one nation, Egypt is another, and Judea, or Judah as it's now been changed, but it's Judah. In it, what you have is Canaan, Egypt and Judah. It's your key. It's key to unlocking Solomon, basically. Well, it's the key to finding the key that unlocks the padlock, which opens the matrix, the matrix, which unlocks the safe. And then you use the key at Melin to unlock the fort, and then underneath the fort you find the ark, and it just goes on, and you obviously find it's all in the garden, literally in the Garden of Eden, or the place where Eden was. Okay, but rather than cross all these off again, I mean, I've done it there. But the way this code works, okay, so as well as having this, it backs it up secondary. Because what you need to do to get the message is use this code plus these planets to get the message. Okay, bear with me a second while I write up the message, and prepare to be shocked, particularly if you're a Christian. But believe me, look for truth, or you're going to get caught out with this Ra deception, the Amen Ra deception. Okay, folks, you couldn't make this up. Okay, it says, untie Amen Ra. Ra's Jesus never return. Put Oslo Mon, plan set GH, which I've just showed you that, the plan set for Oslo Mon. When Oslo falls, get to Mon, basically. That's it's all to do with the 3 ribs prophecy. If you go to the World War III one, that'll tell you all about that. And it says, use art put in Cymru. Now, as I've shown you, I didn't show you all the art put in Cymru, but I've showed, and Cymru being Wales, as I say. If you actually change Cymru to Gymru, which it really should be, but it's been changed. It's also an anagram of my name, Mr. Guy. Unbelievable, but it's not on its own because there's so much more that says it as well. So the coder is coded in there as well. Okay, so untie Amen Ra, which I've done it. That was written in one of the things. In fact, let me just pull that up. One of the constellation messages on the first one, on the title, was try show Ra Eden matter. Well, I tried to show the Ra Eden matter. Basically, Amen is an anagram of name. It's the same letters. Okay, so at the end of your prayer, when you pray, not covering your sins, but putting your palms up with your sins on it, standing in a surrendering position in the letter Y, with your sins on your palms, head down, and just asking him for forgiveness. But what you do at the end of it is you're supposed to put the name of the one you're sending well, I put my name and his name. I say from Marco to Yahweh. But you name who you're sending your prayer to. Now, what the sneaky deceitful snake has done, obviously it's bounced through history and has created this Amen Ra and attached its name. And Ra can be spelt with or without a H. Obviously, they're taking the H off, it hides it a little bit better because they don't want you putting two and two together. Because if you're saying Amen and you know that the one that's changed his name or using a kind of pseudonym of Satan is you know, it's a sort of well, it's more of a trick as well. That's deceit in itself. It's hiding the fact that its name is Ra and so it doesn't become obvious. But what you're doing is when you say Amen, is you're naming Amen Ra basically, and he's tagged his name onto it. And it's all part of this great deceit, and not to, you know, don't go biting the apple of Eden. Incidentally, the reason the Cancer constellation connects as well to the apple, I didn't twig this, but it's so obvious, is because it is a crab apple. It's the not good fruit. It's going to make your belly bitter when you see what comes, and when Jesus doesn't arrive, obviously, you're going to have it doesn't even bear thinking about. And it's not, and let me just say this as well, just to clarify, I didn't set this out. I started this kind of look on the Jesus road, and it's not that I particularly want to say he's bad or whatever. I'm just telling the truth of what I can only tell you what is passed on to me, and this is literally. But as you can see, the fact that I can even find these things in so quick a time and work it all out and be able to explain everything in it should tell you that where this information is coming from, and it's coming from the one who created everything. It's simple as that. There's nobody else. No man could set up this plan that goes from the ancient times. Giza pyramids is encoded. I've got a bit more on that. I think I've broken as well. Two ancient forts that even decode to my name, my family name, and pictures in the map that back it all up as well. If you haven't seen it, check it out, because there's just way too much. It's impossible for this to be coincidence, and I really am. Well, I don't know whether I don't even know how to explain it, how it happens, but either way, this is work of the Creator. This is creation code, not books that man can change, and because they've altered it. Oh yeah, that's what on that subject. Right. Okay. Right, the first 4 books of what is the Old Testament, the Jewish, the Torah. Okay, there's a reason it's called Torah, because as you get books according to Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, who were all British and made up, or I don't know about made up, but they were certainly the lawyers who put the name to it if not. Basically, the Torah is the first 4 books. This is why it's all been changed and moved abroad. The Egypt and the Canaan and everything else, the key is literally to break the lie, basically. It's the first 4 books according to Ra. This is your Torah is to Ra. First 4 books according to Ra, showing that he's been involved in changing everything. This thing is behind every single evil deed in this world, really. Okay, the second one I got to show you. Not forgetting, he went to save the... who are not, they're actually the Siluris. These are the people, and how do I know? Because they're an anagram of... And his rule, you just put on the secret H, reverse that, and you get me, Siluri H as well, just so you know. Siluri H. The Siluri were what he remembered. Now what? Right, there's a code. It's so obvious I never even spotted it. This is how crazy this is. But once you know the code and once you've got his name, it all becomes a bit more. It's Ra lies, and it is Ra lies. This is not about the Middle East at all. This is not about, I can even disprove it geographically or certainly put a dent in it with the story of Moses and everything coming up, because he's supposed to have gone round Canaan, which would have took him like 1,000,000 miles off when he was almost at Mount Sinai, which is actually Mount Sinai is a recon beacon as well. It's a Sinai, not Sinai. Sinai is also an anagram via sin. Right, okay, anyway, moving swiftly on from that one, let's get back to Eden. Okay, folks, Eden rivers. There are 3 rivers that flow out of Eden into one great river. Now, they, as expected, and I did say this in the last one, I'm sure there's a code in them, and there is. And this is just so clever. This is written in Genesis. Now, the name of the 4 rivers are Gihon, Pison, Hiddekel, and Euphrates. And the great river Euphrates. Right, and what you need to do, right, running out of Eden, or running out, which I can only assume must be South Wales, it must be quite an area, with the centre of it obviously being somewhere in, where the loch, well, I'm guessing where the loch is. The Gihon, Pison, Hiddekel, yeah. So what you do, but what you need are the 3 rivers that literally run out of Wales, out of the garden, and the river that they run into. Now, the Usk, the Nedden and the Wye are the 3 rivers. The Usk at Newport, the Nedden is the dried up river that leads to the Severn, or used to lead to the Severn. It's now dried up. It does fill up at times, so far up, and I think it will fill up again at some point. The Usk, the Nedden, then you've got the Wye, the River Wye through the Wye Valley. Literally, and these are all sort of, well, the Usk is to the left, the Nedden is at the centre, and the Wye is to the right. And they all run into the River Severn, which is also encoded as CNRV. It even has the word Eve in it, if you look at it, along with Nedden having the word Eden in it. But when you unscrap, when you know I don't know which river exactly is which at this point, but I'm sure something will come to light and sort of guide me to it. But at this point, they're the three rivers that run out of Eden and meet at the Severn, which would be well, I'm sure that one must be the Euphrates. Okay. But obviously they've gone and moved this over to the kind of the Middle East and completely fabricated the whole thing. But they've been set up really, and I don't doubt for 1 minute that Yah put the rivers there that kind of fit it, not perfectly, but they fit it. For them to go and do it and then to catch them out at a later date, which I think this is all what this is all about. Just let them lie, give them enough rope, and they hang themselves. And now on the revealing, now we're showing truth with the most impossible way, and I'm hoping that it'll show you that there is no coincidence in any of this. But what it actually says, the code in it says Drew Eve's Apple Sin ID. Well, that is obviously the apple on the wall on G-Roos UK. G-Roos is Jerusalem. G-Roos is the name of the constellation G-Roos, the crane. Obviously the Mel, the Alem bit is a Mel, and what you do, it's a combination of the 2 forts in name. The Siluri, or the supposed Israelites, used to live the Siluri lived in Llanbelin. Then they moved from there, and so this is the story that the Romans built this fort, and then obviously the Siluris agreed, made some peace treaty or something. It's a load of twaddle. They never invaded it, the Romans did not build it, and I believe this fort is a lot older than what they're actually telling us. But it was certainly already there, and King Caradoc, King David, would be the one who built it and handed it to his son, who I've decoded, who is Solomon, who is Coelin ap Caradoc, and he's the one that unfortunately bit the apple of the churches, let him in on the land. These were his 700 wives, 300 concubines. It's all to do churches and associated religions, or religions in general. And then basically he lost his kingdom, and he's the last king that's kind of recorded with Siluria. Siluria is the land of his rule. His rule is written in the Severn, which used to be the Sabbath. It's been changed to Sabrina, but literally the Sab. It used to, I don't know whether it was the Sabbath River or the Sab River, where you took your bath on a Saturday. Saturday is an anagram of At Roost Day. And where I do my At Roost Day, and I follow his rule and become Siluri H. But on saying that, then it says Scene H key head north. Now, what's amazing about this fort is actually in the shape of a compass as well, which is, this would be the north gate roughly. This is the east gate. This is the south. This is the west. This is also Muse, which ties with Solomon's paper ship, which is in the Great Seal of Solomon. It's a paper ship. If you want to see that, go back on the video. But what it is, the Newport newspaper ship is the Argus Navis. The Argus is the South Wales Argus, is the Newport newspaper, and then it's obviously identified as the ship. It's based on the star constellation. It's been changed to the Argos Navis, actually. It's all this Greek nonsense, but if you check into the small print, because they like to hide these things, the generative term apparently is the Argus Navis. It's the Argus Navis. It's the Newport newspaper ship. Okay, but again, like I say, you'd have to go back on the videos to do that. But seeing H key, well, there's your H key, head north. Right, we're going to get into this now because I'm about to expose something amazing which ties with all this together. The secret H man, now how you go about getting that. But as you can see, the key is north, but there's also that big spear that comes right down from the north. Well, no, it doesn't. I messed that up, but it pinpoints that spear. Pinpoints his fort, okay, and obviously it goes north to Berwick-on-Tweed, Holy Island, and that comes with a great big code in itself, which I'm about to show you, along with the code in the drawn bow, and you'll see how this all fits together beautifully. Bear with me. Okay, folks. Right, as you can see, right, okay, I'm just going to try and show you how you work out the secret H. Now, the amazing part of this code is that it didn't come in this order. What it tends to do is give you the answer and then give confirmations as opposed to giving you clues and then you find the answer. Obviously showing then that you got the answer from somewhere else. In other words, you didn't work it out yourself, which I didn't. All these things just been put into my head. I get these things, just tells me to go there. I can't explain it. It's just all done through consciousness. But it comes into my head, I go there and there it is. Right, the first thing is Daniel code. Okay, the first part of unravelling the H-man is that, right, going back, I drew this huge map. I've shown it on the shark, the Welsh Ark, or the Ark of the Covenant video where you locate it, and the hidden Welsh Ark. Because what you have basically is a multi-layered map. It's full of map symbols, basically, all map tricks. What you have mixed into one map, you've got Leviathan in one direction. I forget which way round it goes, but you've got this is Leviathan, I think. It should be angled that way in truth. I've straightened it up. But for now, there's a pyramid as well. This is to do with Egypt. Notice that this is Tor Point. This is Tura Point. A Torah point is Torah. Okay, just so you know, that's down in Cornwall. Devon, Cornwall, with Tor Point, Devon, I think it is, where it crosses over to Cornwall, where the red water crossing happened, not the Red Sea. Okay, anyway. Right, the Exeter obviously symbolised the exit because that's all coded as well. In all these place names have their own code. I forget which order they go in, but they literally all code up messages, same as what I'm showing you now. Or basically, I'll have to go through them all again when I get a chance. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, this code keeps coming and I never get time. Right, what we got is this is the tent. Okay, as you can see, this makes a fishtail as well. See, Roman Catholic, there's a place called Cromer, and it's RC Rome, Roman Catholic Rome, and then I switch P, so switch P is IB switch. So they switched it because this used to be Kyle Went going back. Believe it or not, you can check that. The Iceni lived in the area of Cowent, and they were actually called the Esseni, which is also recorded in Coma Berriensis. Anyway, right, without getting too deep into that, right, what you got is right, in the book of Daniel, Daniel's with King Nebuchadnezzar. It's all coded stuff. This stuff, I guess it happened, but there's code overlaid into this. And what Daniel, he gets the call, and this hand comes out the wall, and Daniel's there, and the finger comes right from out of nowhere, writes on the wall, meeny, tekel up farsin. No one's ever unscrabbled this code. Nobody knows what it means. And Daniel goes on to tell him he's going to be, and what he tells him is something about what does he tell him? Your kingdom has been numbered and found wanting. And effectively, it's the writing on the wall for Babylon. Babylon falls. Babylon is also London in modern context. Right, okay. London, it's Britain, but it's centred on Babylon, which is London. The Babylon in the land of Nod, which is the biblical land of Nod, where Cain went. Right, anyway, without getting too deep into it, this is a simple well, I say simple, it's only simple if you know, but it says unmap 10, seek Melin here. Well, Fort Clan Melin, unmap 10 first is by drawing In the Seal of Solomon, it's cleverly hidden. This is a tri-tent with the flaps open and the guy ropes. And the guy ropes are there for a reason, because my surname's Guy and I'm guiding you into the tent. Okay, I know it sounds bizarre, but this is the work of the Creator, okay? It says your kingdom has been numbered. Well, I numbered their kingdom by, that's the Cornavai, these are the 10 lost tribes of his rule. And I've uncoded them, they're all written in the Melkin prophecy. It's the Cornavai, Dumnonai, Regnensis, Iceni, Cassie, Demente, All Devices, Desi Angli, and Siluri number 9, and number 10 is the Atrabates, which are the naughty tribe, basically, the ones that messed it all up. The Atrabates is how it's pronounced, but there's a lot more to that. For now, I'll just stick to this. So the first thing to find in H is unmapped 10, seek Melin here. Like I said, I didn't get it in this order. I'd already found Melin, and obviously, like I said, just all back to front, but brilliant the way it's done. Okay, so that's the first part. Bear with me, I'll show you the second part. Okay, the second part of this code is written in the book of Psalms. Psalms is also an anagram of L's maps. All you do is add the Angie and you get angels maps, basically. The David is Advi ID. Well, when you add the V to Melin, you get Melvin. Again, without going into it, my father's name was Melvin, my grandfather's name was Melvin, and I'm Marco ap Melvin. It's complicated, but it's a Welsh thing with son of, basically. The ap is son of. So my grandfather's Melvin ap Robert, my dad was Melvin ap Melvin, my name is Marco ap Melvin, so the son of Melvin, basically. The son of so anyway, so add VID, so even David is a code, and if you don't, well, I can even give you the code for D as well, but if you want to add a D in there, it's in Clanfair Discoid, which is just off the key, and that says all in RV, I think it says all in RV, D is code. Okay, so if it's in the rendezvous, or to do with the rendezvous, which is written in the River 7, seen RV, then, and the rendezvous for the tribes at the end times, basically. But the once you add V and your ID, so IDV, then you've got this, also you've got this Masonic symbol, or on the Masons thing, it says C, I'm not sure the order, is it L, or E, N, I'm not sure which way round it goes, but this is an N, I know that. And there's a dot on the end of that as well to show his. But basically, this is their symbol with a G. Well, that's Gumby, Mr. Guy as well. But this C is to see. Once you know the trick C, or the C written in the crescent moon, because crescent moon, right, on their symbology on their pillars, you've got the Pleiades, which is an anagram of Please ID. Then underneath it, you've got the crescent moon, which is an anagram of Secret Sion Mon. Well, the Secret Sion Mon is when you add a C to King Solomon's temple, or key, because it's multi-coded for the apple and everything, but what you get is, so, locking Mon's temple, Mon's key, Mon's symbols, Mon's everything, and Mon is Monmouthshire. Okay, Solomon's key is the only key in Mon. Solomon's temple, Solo is only as well. There's a bit more to it than that as well, but without getting into it. But even this, it says C Melin, Melin, and it, like I say, I've done a decode on it all, but as you can see, it's all there. Also, interestingly, on virtually every chapter, I think it is at the end of every chapter, it has this word in Psalms, Selah. Well, when you unscrabble that, it says Seal H. Well, that's what we're doing, is Seal H, using angels maps, and obviously in the map tricks, okay? Right, Melchizedek is an anagram. Now, it says in, what's the actual, bear with me. It says, Psalm 110:4, well, it says the Lord, it's not. It's Yah hath sworn and will not repent. Thou art, and he used the word art as well. I find that interesting. That's given that it's all in art. Thou art a priest, and a priest is a druid, which is a Drew ID. So thou art Drew ID. Thou art a a druid forever after the order of Melchizedek. Well, the order of Melchizedek is actually an instruction, and it says see Mel, so C is locking in the Solomon's key, see Mel, seek HID. Okay, so this is the second part now of seeking it, and like I said, it said it's north, obviously it goes up to across country, and basically this great big spear now comes in and sort of attacks well, I don't know if it kills Leviathan, but it certainly is doing damage to it, because obviously it's all a great big lie being exposed. Right, now it gets interesting. Now we go to the map of the picture of the bow. Bear with me a second. Okay, folks, right, okay, so it says, I've left this at the top, put hope in H, trust H. This is off the codes for obviously the RA warning and everything else, but obviously we were identifying what the H is exactly. Right, okay. Right, this bow that is drawn back, and what we're going to do is uncode this line. These have got their own codes in it. That's RGH, which is the Royal Gwent Hospital. This is Clan Melin, which is Clan Melvin, when you went, or the Clan Melvin with the C. You place the C off the Melin and add it to the Melin. It gives you Clan Melvin, which is my family clan. And then Jerusalem backwards is actually Mel A Sir G, and all you do is fit in. You fit the words in to make it Melvin a surname Guy, or a surname G. Well, G is Guy, obviously, and that's my father and my grandfather's name, and you complete it at Taurus. Again, I haven't got time to go into all that, so I'm gonna have to skip that. But it's all written in the codes before on videos. Okay, the first thing has its own code as well. St. Bride's Nether Went. This is this point where the bow is drawn back. Okay, and there's no accident. There is the drawn bow, and then you obviously fire it off to the Pleiades, which is another code in itself. But when you unscrabble it again or anagram it, it comes out with exactly this: drawn 10 tribes, following on from the tent. Seen it H. Okay, I've seen it H. So I have seen it H. I already knew what the H man was, and the spear now will also confirm, unbelievably, this being Eden's bow. Oh yeah, good point as well. Is this line that comes directly down also hits the apple. That becomes important because when we put the next code on the spear, it actually confirms that as well. Okay, so the code in St. Bride's Nether Went says drawn 10 tribes, seen it H. Okay, and the H is obviously Melin and everything else. Right, the places this goes, number 1 is St. Bride's Nether Went, number 2 is Carrow Hill. Right, there's a symbol on Solomon, which is this. And what this is, at Carrow Hill is C Arrow Hill. Again, C is locking in Mon's key, which is this, so you lock it into Mon's key, which is the H. So this would be the representative of the arrow, and obviously is leading effectively to the H, and that's where it goes. Okay, so that's another code in Solomon. Then you go through and that is the key, really, the key to the H as well. Okay, now if that's not enough on its own, this actually confirms it as well by using all of these to make the real message in it, or the next message. Bear with me. Okay, folks, as if you needed any more proof. Okay, here's what it says. Drawn Welsh 10 tribes tent. As I showed you, unmapped 10 Sikh Melin here. Obviously, I drew the tent and I drawn in the 10 lost tribes. It says, seen Clan Mel in Hillfort Arrowline Mon. Right, this, as I just showed you, is the H. This is well, this relates to this, not only this H in the Arrowline Mon. The H is obviously Lan Melin, and obviously the H man is the Clan Mel, the V in it, Melvin, and it's the H man. Okay, I'll show you the H man as well, because that, again, it's all written in the spear as well. But then the last part, absolute piece of genius. I see Mel HID. Well, that is exactly Melchizedek, as I originally coded when I hadn't, well, when it's showing that you hadn't found it. It's to see Mel, and the instruction is to seek HID. Well, now it says I see Mel HID, so I've seen it, so therefore it's minus the seek. but when you put the seek backing into it, you get Melchizedek. Now what's amazing about this is the code in the next bit continues on from this, from the spear, continues on from this bow. Right, bear with me a second. Okay, folks, this is the spear and the coordinates of the spear in case you want to write them down and check the message. I don't know if you can see it very well, but 1 is Holy Island, Berwick-on-Tweed. 2 is Eccles, Manchester. 3 is Chester. 4 is Chesterfield. 5 at the centre is Much Wenlock, and 6 is Llanmel in the Key, okay? So those are the coordinates for the spear. Now we're going to work the message. Incidentally as well, land is holy. There's an amazing thing in this, but I'll keep that as a secret. But bear in mind, it's the bow as well hits the apple. Just keep that in mind. And obviously this spear then pins this. So it pins the bow, and then on the other side, coming up to here, then you've got this, it's a totally wrong angle, but you've got the dart effectively coming in and sort of pinpointing the temple as well. So all of these three all overlap. Bear with me a second. Okay, folks, now you will see how clever this matrix or this map tricks are. Okay, right. Firstly, Manchester is says secret H man on its own. You've got all these places are all the secret places in the Bible are Chesters and Cesters. Cester is where Manchester is secret H man, but it's the Chester, and it's almost like the treasure in the chest as well. With some of them, with like Chesterfield. Secret if lead H, I think that one. They seem to all have their own codes in their own rights, or some of them. But when you put it all together, this is how miraculous this is. Okay, now bear in mind that this is the final line of the last code on the bow. And it obviously says I see Mel, sorry. It says I see Mel, HID. Well, when you put the seek into it and fill it in, and then you know it's Mel, and then unscrabble it, it says Melchizedek. Well, the spear now says filled Clan Mel secret. So the secret is the secret H-man of the Clan Melin, basically, or Clan Melvin. And that it's hid in Melchizedek. So filled Clan Mel's secret. See much when I lock secret C. Well, I've shown you how you lock the secret C. And I did. And that has really opened everything up once you realise that the CC is your 33 as well. It's your Masonic, third letter of the alphabet. And once you see C, and you have the Holy C as well, which is your it's just showing that the Masons and the Vatican C are really one. It's one bird, two wings. Okay. Filled Clan Mel secret. See much when I lock secret C. Now here's a masterpiece. Well, secret H-man. Eden bow. Eden bow trick. Well, there's your Eden bow trick, because it's on Eden, and here's a bow, and the bottom of the bow points directly at the apple on the thing. Then you've also connected with the dart, and I'm going to show you the message in the dart as well. I'm not going to give you all the place names. I'm just going to give it straight with the message. I've already done it anyway. And I'm going to put all three of these together so you can see now how this all fits together and what it says. And there is no way on this earth this is coincidence. But just one last time. Filled Clan Mel secret. See much when I lock secret C. Well, secret H-man. Eden bow trick. Holy land. Because this land... well, like I say, Holy Island, and it is the Holy Island. As the land is holy, and it's the land of his rule, not Israel. And it's all encoded in to catch out the evil ones who sold basically we've been sold, the country's been sold out. Wales, but in fairness, Wales lost it themselves, really. The Siluri messed up, Solomon messed up, and this is where they end up getting divorced by Yah. The lock goes on Eden, on the temple symbolically, and it shuts it all up. But the key is left there to unlock it. And once you know how to break the padlock matrix and everything else, this is what you get. We're in that time. Okay, bear with me a second. Okay, guys and girls, just to put this in perspective, and anybody who thinks this is just anagram, you need to tie this with, well, it's got three natural pictures built in. Well, I say natural, nothing's natural. It's all been put there deliberately. But you've got a picture of a key on a fort, you've got a lock on a fort, and you've got an apple on a mound, all connecting to each other. And then you've got a dart, which is all written in the book of Job as well. It says that you cannot hold the dart, the spear, or the harbinger. It also mentions the bows hit in Leviathan. Bear in mind, all this points to Leviathan as well, and it's all sort of attacking him from all directions. But right, the first one is the dart, second one is the bow, and the third one that I've put is the spear. So it says to trust H. Well, this doesn't show you who H is, and the fact that I've got all this code in the safe zone for the end times, and I'm telling you how to get right with Yah, then, well, I give up, because no way this is coincidence. Right, the dart, Cain Kyle went Mon, be no truth. Became map key, enter RGH, Royal Gwent Hospital, to open Solomon's Temple, secret C, naming Solomon's Temple. Do and win. Again, there's a D missing off that, but that's all encoded in the Clanfear discoid bit. Again, D is code with the discoid, but without getting into that too deeply. Okay, Drawn Wells, 10 tribes, tent. Seen Clan Mel in Hillfort, arrow line, Mon, that's your H with the arrow in it. I see Mel hid. Add the word seek, and you get Melchizedek, the very code that opens it up in the first place. Then the spear says, filled Clan Mel's secret, which it did, is the HID, the secret H-man. See much when I lock secret C. Well, I certainly did. Well, secret H-man, Eden bow trick, that's your bow in with the base or the stuck, point straight to Eden, or is all, used over Eden. And the last bit is Holy Land. But the absolute one is if you follow the key at Lambelin and literally follow it down, it hits directly on the roof of where I am now at Eastlake Corsham, which says yes. Yes, Atlas, Marcos, H. Now, if that is coincidence, people, honestly, this is not coincidence. Like I said, I don't know why it's me that's been chosen to do this. Obviously, well, I got nothing to go on other than code. I have no memory of anything before, but going by the code, I meant Archangel apparently sent, not thrown out. It makes that point clear on the Sacramento code. Then Sacramento is actually an anagram of Santa Marco, and a sacrament, sacrament. And this is on the top of the scythe, which is over America. I think I've done in the World War III a short version of it video, but there's a complete encoded scythe with a message basically for America. Well, I guess for Americans. Pinpoints Newport News as well, which is where the Newport, you connect that back to Britain with the Newport newspaper ship, which is written in Solomon's code as well. It's the Argus Navis. And basically it's like time to get, obviously things are coming, and like I say, I've only got the code to go by. I don't remember anything, but and it's not that I was even looking for this, people, or I wasn't into anything like spirituality, and I don't like the word spirit. I think spirit is evil, and I think that's why the Old Testament would have the word soul in it and not the word spirit. Spirit is a New Testament word. It's with a spire in it as well. And but either way, like I say, what you need to do, get right with the Creator. This message, if you're hearing getting this message and it's resonating with you, then and I hope it does. I mean, if you're new to this, go back through. This is just, again, it's just a snippet of a massive code and how I got there. I've left all the videos on there. They're a bit vague and a bit sketchy, some of the code. Well, not sketchy is not the word, but some of them I got in the wrong order and I've had to readjust later when I've got new code that makes it, makes sense. But so I'm not just making it fit, it all ties in with pictures and everything else. But and you can obviously see that clearly I'm not making this up. Yah's giving me a message for you, but he's not giving me it to tell you, I don't speak to him. He doesn't talk, he doesn't say, Marco, go tell him this, because I'm just telling you stuff like everybody else tells you a million things. But I've actually got it in writing to back it up, and from the most amazing place that you could not, well, nobody but the Creator could do. What do you need to do? I always make this too big. Right, hang on, let me just do this. Most important part of this is to get right with the Creator. What do? You stand in the letter Y with your palms up. Put your sin in your palms. That's why you got Psalms with an S in it. Sin in your palms as well, or as part of the reason. What you do is you bury your head down, and then what you'll do is you'll unlock. This is what I did, and this is the mouth of Mon, I guess, Monmouth, probably. This is the River Severn. This is again going back to Solomon's Great Seal, where you see him in the reflection. This is the sea. This is the Severn. This is seen RV. It's all reflected in there. Well, the RV, and I'm doing the simple version here. As I've shown you on the Cancer constellation, if you put these as the pillars, this is Canaan and Egypt, the sins of Canaan and Egypt. This would be Judah, and what you've got the same in reverse in the reflection, which is the Cancer constellation again with the two forts. So one will be unlocking that and unlocking. So literally, what you've got is the reflection of the end. These are the pillars. This is the Royal Arch. So it's the R in Cancer, which I was born in, incidentally, just so you know. That's the R, that's the G, and that's the H. Now you know why it's called the Melon H, because the H man. So it's the GH, and the R gives you the connection of the Royal Gwent Hospital where I was born. When I was transferred from the house next to the temple, literally the place where I came back 50 odd years later, and basically have unlocked the matrix that I was born in. I was put in the womb of the matrix in my mother's womb. That's where I was. Like I say, folks, I'm not making this up. If this is wrong, well, I just can't. There's no way it could be wrong. It's just too clever. On that note, guys and girls, Yah's blessings to you, and I'll hopefully have another load of code probably in another 2 weeks when I've been refilled. Thank you for watching.